experience, I don't think I can trust the banks anymore. I mean, I think I will just withdraw money and just stash it under the bed like what people used to do in the old days.
Sunny watched in horror as her life savings disappeared before her eyes. All her hard work and sacrifice gone in just 30 minutes, and there was nothing she could do. To make matters worse, Sunny thought she was dealing with her bank.
30 minutes is all it took to erase years of careful saving. 30 minutes for a hard-working woman to watch nearly $50,000 vanish while she believed she was protecting herself from fraud. And this story will change how you view every message your bank ever sends you. Sunoni Juan later described the devastation in words that cut straight to the heart when she said she had cried constantly for days and could not function at work. That the hardest thing was trying to stop blaming herself, even though she had done what most people would consider the careful choice. Here is the uncomfortable truth this case reveals. The most dangerous scams do not come from obvious strangers sending suspicious emails. They come disguised as the very institutions we trust to protect our money. They exploit our instinct to act quickly when security feels threatened. And they have become so sophisticated that even cautious people are losing everything in minutes. So if you find this investigation valuable, please subscribe right now, because these are the stories that could save you thousands. Sunani had built her savings slowly over years through ordinary work and discipline. She paid bills on time and managed banking. The same way each month, just steady accumulation towards stability for her future, and then 2 weeks before sharing her story publicly, a Friday night text message shattered everything. The message appeared to come from HSBC warning that a new device had logged into her account, specifically a Samsung S8 phone. And here is where it became personally terrifying, because Sunani had actually owned a Samsung S 8 years earlier and lost that phone. So the scenario felt completely plausible, and the fear felt logical. The text did not arrive from an unknown number. It appeared in the exact same message thread as more than a year of legitimate HSBC communications with an official reference number and a phone number to call. And Sunani did what many customers believe is safest.
Device that's been logged in, the Samsung S8 phone, and then I coincidentally did use an S8 phone a few years ago.
When receiving fraud alerts, she did not click suspicious links or open attachments. She called the number provided. The man who answered sounded professional and followed procedures, matching legitimate bank calls. He confirmed a device in Perth had accessed her account and mentioned the Samsung S8, then said he needed to verify her identity the same way real bank staff do. Sunani provided her full name, address, and date of birth, because these are exactly the details banks request during security checks. Then the caller asked her to generate a one-time passcode describing it as a security step. She generated the code and read it aloud, and almost immediately another text arrived saying a device had been removed from her account. This also appeared to come from HSBC and seemed to confirm the danger was stopped.
Because that came from HSBC number, I didn't really think, and I just clicked on that number.
In that moment, Sunani believed she had saved herself when in reality, she had just handed criminals everything they needed.
I need to go through the verification process to ensure that it is me, as or HSBC or any bank representative.
The scammers moved through her account with devastating speed, but did not stop there. After receiving the code, the caller placed her on hold, then returned, claiming unusual activity, and shifted to asking about her cryptocurrency account, claiming her CoinSpot had also been compromised. And that was when the story stopped making sense because Sanani realized HSBC would have no reason to handle her CoinSpot account and would tell her to contact them directly instead.
I gave that number to him, and then I received a text message saying a device is being removed from my account, which is from the he said like there's been some unusual activities, and he put me on hold quite a while.
She hung up immediately and called HSBC using official contact details to freeze her account. But by morning when she visited the branch, staff confirmed nearly everything was gone. Approximately $50,000 drained in roughly 30 minutes, while she thought she was protecting herself.
Like clicked to me, like, why would HSBC be concerned about my CoinSpot and they wouldn't pass my details to a representative? They would tell me to call CoinSpot directly.
The mechanics relied on sophisticated imitation appearing completely official. Criminals spoofed the HSBC number, so their message appeared in her trusted conversation history. They used a believable trigger with the device login warning, incorporated a personal detail with the Samsung S8 reference, framed every interaction as protection rather than demanding money up front, and moved step by step until the passcode gave them access. Sanani did not believe she was authorizing any transfer. She believed she was stopping fraud, and she later said she knew to avoid links and attachments, but because the text appeared to come from HSBC, she let her guard down completely.
Send emails or attachments and things like that. I'm usually on guard, but because I think the text message came from the HSBC number.
The emotional aftermath was immediate. She described crying constantly and being unable to function at work, and she recalled a cold interaction where, after explaining she lost her whole savings, the representative simply said all the best. HSBC told reporters they would not comment on her case, but acknowledged increased text spoofing and reminded customers they never ask for PINs or passwords. However, Sanani was not asked for those. She was asked to generate a one-time passcode framed as security verification. And that distinction is exactly what scammers exploit. This case is not isolated because Tim Watkins lost over $200,000 the same year after a similar spoofed NAB text. He also shared a passcode and watched 10 payments totaling $222,000 leave his accounts in 13 minutes to completely new payees. His bank said he was liable because he shared the code. Consumer advocate Stephanie Tonkin stated scams have become too sophisticated for individual customers to stop alone, and argues banks must be required to reimburse because that incentivizes investment in protection. The scale is staggering, with Australians losing over $3 billion to scams last year, while banks reimbursed only 2 to 5%. And since January this year, over 16 million specifically to bank impersonation scams. Here are the red flags that could protect you. First, any text asking you to call about suspicious activity should be treated with caution, even if it appears in your legitimate bank thread, because criminals can spoof sender numbers. Second, always hang up and call your bank, using the number on your card or official website rather than any number in a message. Third, be extremely cautious if anyone asks you to generate and share a one-time passcode, because legitimate banks should not need you to read codes aloud. Fourth, watch for urgency about multiple accounts being compromised, because expanding threats beyond one institution often signals the caller lacks real access. And fifth, trust your instincts when something shifts from plausible to strange, because that moment of clarity might be your only warning. If this opened your eyes, please subscribe and share with your parents and grandparents, because awareness is our only protection when institutions refuse responsibility. Sunani said she cannot trust banks anymore and has thought about stashing money under her bed like people did before digital banking. Not because it is practical, but because it feels like the only way to regain control. The money is gone. The routine she built over years is gone. And what remains is the devastating realization that a careful person can make what appears to be the responsible choice and still lose everything, because criminals have learned to disguise themselves as the institutions we trust most. Check your bank messages with new eyes tonight. Call your family and warn them. And remember, the most dangerous fraud does not announce itself. It arrives wearing the mask of protection. Stay safe, stay skeptical, and I will see you in the next investigation.